Hi guys, and welcome to Uncle Scott's Kitchen. Gonna have some fun today and talk Staub and Le Creuset enamel cast iron. Note that I said Staub and Le Creuset, not Staub versus Le Creuset. We're going to go through kind of the highlights of each brand and some of the differences and nuances, and maybe throw out some advice for people looking for their first piece. For those who are already in the game here, like me, I've got a bunch of pieces and I am looking to add more. We're going to go through some tips for kind of strategically trying to add pieces to our collections without breaking the bank. We don't want to pay full retail for any of these guys. And it's a good time of year to do a video like this because the treasure hunt is about to start. Here in Utah where I am, it has already snowed twice. Fall, winter is in the air. It's supposed to snow again tomorrow. Good time to kind of move away from hot dogs and hamburgers on the deck to getting out the enamel cast iron and making stews, popozos, soups, etc., etc. So let's jump in and get started. Now, I am a little bit different than almost everyone else in the cookware review space. If you see on TV shows, magazines, videos, articles online, lots of people, they will compare Staub versus Le Creuset. Staub versus Le Creuset, and they're searching for some sort of magical one-size-fits-all answer for whatever piece someone should buy. I am different, and I would bet that a lot of you guys are kind of like me because we love our fancy kitchens, we love delicious food, and we love high-end cookware. I don't see it as a Staub versus Le Creuset. I see it as a Staub and Le Creuset. They're both fantastic, both high-end snoot level French real deal cookware pieces. And I've got several pieces of each brand, and I think most anybody watching this video is going to be into the same stuff as I am, and will probably enjoy having multiple pieces of each brand as well. Both brands are making enameled cast iron, different than bare cast iron. The enameled, you can leave it wet, you can soak it if you stick something, you can cook acidic foods in it. You don't have to season it, it's not going to rust. So a different maintenance profile with the enamel cast irons, and you get a lot of, I think, very interesting and fun colors, really brighten up your kitchen. The pieces from both brands are definitely in the booty pan category with thick, wide, heavy bottoms. Fantastic cooking performance. You can fry, you can make soups, stews, you can bake bread in them. They work on a stovetop, they work on induction, believe it or not. They work on gas, they work in an oven. Very versatile pieces. So they're very similar in a lot of ways. There are a few differences, and whether or not this is important really depends on you. The Le Creusets are known for having a lighter interior, whereas the Staubs are known for having a darker interior. Although that is not always the case, as I do have a Le Creuset with a dark interior, so you definitely have to check. But lots of people think that lighter interior makes it easier to see your food as it's cooking down in a Dutch oven. Other people think that the darker interior of these Staubs might do a little bit better with browning, maybe a little bit better at baking bread. Who knows about that? The lids also different shapes. Le Creusets may be a little more classic looking, but a little bit smoother, I guess you would say. Whereas the Staubs are maybe a little more distinctive. They have this pronounced lip, and I guess back in the day when people were cooking over coals, they could scoop out coals and put them on top of the Dutch oven lid, and this would help keep them corralled. Some people actually put ice on top of their stoves these days, and that's supposed to help with condensation. Underneath the lid, the Staubs have these little posts, and the posts, the thinking on that is when you're cooking, moisture evaporates and condenses on the underside of the lid here. These posts help to distribute that liquid evenly and keep your food well basted. That's the theory anyway. The Le Creusets don't have those. Now the enamel cast iron from both brands is oven safe. There's slight differences in the knobs. Some of them are plastic, some of them are nickel, other metals. You can also upgrade the knobs. One thing I like about these Staubs is you can get these decorative knobs, and they have various animals. This is a cow, and they've got a pig, they've got a rooster, they got a rabbit, on and on. And it's kind of fun. I made some beef tallow fries in this Dutch oven the other day, and I had the cow knob on there. And it's just kind of fun, adds to the fun factor to match up your knob with the dish you're cooking. So for me, a somewhat enthusiastic home cook, day-to-day cooking in these things, I use all these pieces. I don't find the differences between the two to be very significant at all. As a matter of fact, I think people worry about that too much, and I don't think you can go wrong with either brand. Now, these are snoot level pieces. The prices are very high and often very similar on similarly sized pieces. If they cook the same and the differences aren't a big deal, how in the world do you choose? Well, if you're new and thinking about getting your first piece, let's throw out a few tips and pointers and things to look for. The first thing I would look for if I were buying my first enamel cast iron Dutch oven is size. I would want to get a good versatile size. I think a good one to start with is something like this one here. This is a 5 or 5.5 quart Le Creuset. And that is big enough for soups and stews and weeknight chilies, what have you. You can also bake bread in it, but it's also a manageable size. Putting it into the oven, taking it out, the weight is not an issue. It's fairly maneuverable. Once you get above 6, up to the 7 quarts, the 8 quart down there, these are 9 quarts, they get heavy and weight becomes an issue. For example, I did a video on making some ribollita in this 9 quart last year, fully loaded with ribollita. The thing weighed 29 pounds. And at 29 pounds, a Dutch oven like this goes from a booty pan to an old man grunt pan, because you make a sound like this, oh, when you try and move it. So weight and maneuverability become an issue, but that's usually 7 quart on up. Now below 5 quarts, the 4s are still a decent size. You'll occasionally see deals on these. You can still make that kind of weeknight chili. It will still fit in there. Any smaller than that though, and you start running into size issues depending on what you're going to cook. Now let's get into the fun part, the kind of treasure hunt aspect to adding pieces to our collections. If you're buying that first piece and you don't know which one to buy, or you're like me, you've got pieces already, there are holes in my lineup, what I do is buy what's on sale. Now that's easy to say and it sounds very simple, but there's actually a little bit more to it than that. We don't know what is going to go on sale. We don't know when, we don't know what price, and we don't know at which retailer. However, every year something goes on sale somewhere. Let me give you a couple of examples. This 9 quart model here in this color, normally $530. There was a super sale last Black Friday where I got that thing for $200. So $300 off, 60% off. I jumped on it. Now, was I specifically looking for a 9 quart artichoke green Le Creuset Dutch oven? No, I wasn't specifically looking for that. But what I do is keep a list of everything I am interested in, and I take note of the holes in my lineup. So for example, this is a 4, this is a 5, this is a 7, and then I have 8s and I have 9s. I have a hole at 6 quarts. So if a particular brand or color, 6 quart goes on sale this year, I'm gonna jump on it. Now, this 9 quart deal last year was so good, I thought about it overnight and I decided I was gonna go back in and buy a second one, maybe do some sort of giveaway or use it for marketing around here. Went back in and tried to order one and it was gone. So another part of the strategy is you've got to know what you're looking for, and if it's there, you see something you're interested in at a good price and it's in stock, you've got to jump on it. So that was the deal last year. 2 years ago, there was a big battle on these 7 quarts, and I have no idea how the manufacturers and the retailers pick which particular size they're going to compete with, but they always pick one, and there's a screaming deal on some color, on some size piece. Okay, let's throw out just a few numbers here to kind of get people oriented to what might be a good deal, might not. I think for the 7 quarts, the 8 quarts, and the 9 quarts, anything in that $200 to $300 range is usually pretty decent. For a 9 quart, maybe up to $320, $330. Those are pretty good prices there. For this 4 quart, this was a screaming deal a few years ago. I think I paid $130 for that guy, and it came with the decorative knobs. So those decorative knobs are usually about 30 bucks on their own. Something in the 5 quart size, if you can find one of those, 175 to 200. That's probably a screaming deal there. Something like a 10-inch enamel cast iron frying pan. That's a Staub. It was normally about 200 bucks. I found that one 50% off. And again, why did I buy that pan at that time? That was the one on sale. It was on my list, and I jumped on it when the sale arose. And I know you guys don't need to be reminded of this, but it's the holidays. Let's help everybody out. Let's help each other out. If you run across a good deal, like on this 9 quart last year, I never would have known about it without you guys. Make sure you post it in the comment section below this video. I will review all those, or you can hit me up on Twitter at USK Uncle Scott, or over at Uncle Scott's Kitchen on Facebook. I'll review all those. If they look like a screaming deal, I will put them in the description of this video. Keep checking back here. We will have the latest, best prices on all this stuff. So get your credit card out, or perhaps even better, your wife's or husband's credit cards. Get ready to jump on some deals because they are coming. Look somewhere on this screen for links to other videos you will find fantastically enjoyable. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time on Uncle Scott's Kitchen.